Hi, I'm Teacher Melai, and let's talk about appropriate measures of central tendency. So this is the outline of the topics that needs to be discussed, but the focus in this video is only the measures of central tendency, particularly determining for the appropriate measure of central tendency. So what needs to be considered when we are using or when we are determining what is the appropriate measure of central tendency? So in our previous discussion, we have a review of the level of measurement or the scale of measurement. So namely, we have the nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. And then for the different measures of central tendency, so just to review you about it, we have the mode, which is the highest frequency, the median. It is the middle term when the data is the data are arranged from highest to lowest or vice versa. So of course, if we have two middle terms and it is number, it is possible to compute for the average of the two. And then for the mean, this is adding all the data and dividing it to the total number of the data. So what is the appropriate measure if our data is nominal? So before we will go back to this table, we are going to demonstrate or to answer first the given example. So this is example number 1. So our objective is to determine what is the appropriate measure or what are the possible measures of central tendency if applicable. Okay, so what we need to do is to open Microsoft or rather Paint. Let us open Paint for this so that we can answer this item. So what we need to do is, of course, let's try to figure out the mode, if it is possible to determine what is the mode of this data. So let's arrange our data. So in our discussion last time, we also organize our data and present it in tabular form. So let us just arrange this into tabular form by identifying the number of male and the number of female. So let us make a table here: sex, frequency, and percent. So the number of male is 1, 2, let us count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 male, and of course we have a total of 10 students. It means there are 4 females. So since this is 10, so the total is equal to 10. So to get for the percent, we will just simply divide 60 over 10 multiplied by 100, and that is 60%. 4 divided by 10 times 100 is 40%. So for a total of 100%. So in this table, obviously, it is possible to get for the highest frequency. So actually, there's no need for you to compute for this, but just to recall our previous lesson, we also considered constructing frequency count and percent for this data. So now, as mentioned, mode is the highest frequency. So what is the highest frequency? So in the case of this example, we only have two, so higher. What's higher? Is it the male or the female? So we have higher frequency for male. So it means that the mode is male. It is not, of course, the frequency. It is the male. Our data here is the sex of the students. Oh, okay. So how about for median? Do you think it is possible to determine what is the median? Is it the male or the female? So does it mean that if we will go back to our data, does it mean that I can arrange this, and then after arranging this, I'll determine what is the middle term? So like, for example, the middle term in this data is number 5 and number 6, which means dot. the median is male and female. Or if you will suggest me to arrange it that the female comes first before the male because there are more male than female, so it also means that the fifth and the sixth terms is male for number five and also male for number six. So do you think that is correct? Well, of course, in the median, the first thing that you need to consider is that you can arrange it from lowest to highest. So obviously, you cannot do that because nominal data, if you still remember our discussion for nominal data, so we emphasize that there is no order for nominal data. So male and female cannot be ranked or cannot be ordered. So which means that it is not possible for a nominal data. It's not possible to compute or to determine the median of a nominal data. So how about for the mean? So do you think we can compute for the mean like say male plus female plus female plus male plus male plus female, female plus male plus male plus male divided by 10? Is that possible? So maybe in algebra, you can say that we can compute for the number of males, so that is 6m plus 4m. But where m and f corresponds to the variables male and female, but of course, it does not mean that you can add it and you can divide it here. We can just determine for the number of males and the number of females, but definitely we cannot get the average. So it is again not possible for you to determine or to compute for the mean if your variable is nominal. So which means if the variable is nominal, the appropriate measure is no other than the mode, because of course we do not have any other options. Okay, so let's move to another example. So let us consider this example. So how about this? So in this data, you're asked, or rather, you're given the IQ level of students qualified to join the social studies quiz B. So we have 15 students here, and the IQ is also provided where A corresponds to average, AA is above average, and S is superior. Okay, so let us determine what is the mode, the median, and the mean. Okay, so what do you think is the mode in this data? So let us inspect. Actually, it is um, okay not to make what do you call this, frequency count and percent distribution. So if it is very obvious by inspection, then it is fine to just consider now. So letter A, consider observation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7A. So let us list that. And AA, above average, is, let us go back again. 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 above average. And for superior, let us count for superior. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 superior. And then let us double check that this is equal to, of course, it's equal to 15. So 7 plus 3 plus 5. So what is the mode? The highest frequency is average. So mode is average. How about for the median? So IQ level is an ordinal data. So how about if our data is ordinal? Can we also make use of the given example 1, wherein it is not possible, or do you think in this example it is already possible? So let's go back to how we can determine median. So as mentioned, in determining for the median, you have to arrange your data from lowest to highest. Can we arrange our data from lowest to highest? So average, above average, superior. So obviously, it has rank. So we can arrange the order from lowest rank or lowest IQ level to highest IQ level. So if we're going to do that, so we have 7A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let us just place a divider here to emphasize that in the next data, it's already A, and then 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what is the middle term of 15? So as mentioned, you have to arrange from lowest to highest and determine what is the middle number. So 15 is odd number. So if you still recall our discussion how to determine for the median, if it is an odd number, you have to add the 1 and divide it by 2. This is an odd number plus 1 and divide it by 2. So it is 8 because 15 plus 1 is 16 divided by 2 is 8. So the 8th term is the median. So actually, you can do this first and then using the frequency, you can instantly identify that the 8th term because 7 is A. I mean 7A, then the 8th term is AA. Or if you want to do counting, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th term is AA. So which means the median is above average. How about for the mean? So next, is it possible to compute for the mean? This is not numerical data. So can I say that above average plus above average plus above average plus superior? So definitely, again, since it's not a numerical data, it is ordinal or it is qualitative in general, it is again not possible to compute for the mean. So in this example, it means that we can only get the mode and the median if our data is ordinal. But what do you think is the more appropriate? Is it the mode or the median? Because we can get both measures of central tendency. So by the way, the mode is the lowest measure and followed by the median and the highest is the mean. So since median is a higher measure than the mode, so the more appropriate is of course the median. As much as we want to use the most highest measure, it is of course not possible because in this example, we cannot compute for the mean. So definitely, median is the more appropriate measure than mode. Okay, let's go back to our slide. So the next one is, so we have to compute for, so what is this data first? So the data below shows the percentage provided with antenatal care by professional doctors or nurses in the Philippines from 1988 to, this is 2013. From 1988 to 2013. So it's actually 1988, 1993, 1994, 1998 until 2009 to 2013. Okay, so how will we deal with this data? So let us first identify if we have a value for mode. Do we have a mode? So the number of percentage